Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. We are now on episode 71.
We are on 71.
71.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome.
You alright?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, news this week. What have we had this week?
Well, firstly, we've had some rumours that Birmingham City are interested in our very own Elliot Lee.
Yeah, I've read these stories. So Wayne Rooney and Tom Brady are coming after Elliot Lee. I always take these stories with a little bit of a pinch of salt, really, unless I've seen an interview with Wayne Rooney saying he's interested, or the owners, like if Tom Brady'd said, "Oh, we've been watching Elliot Lee, and you know the manager really likes him, and you know we're quite interested." Unless you see stuff like that, for me, it's just sort of like, it's just.
Yeah, but how do the rumours are specific to certain clubs?
Because probably what happens is we're coming up to January.
Yep.
So, you know, people will start looking about for what players they want to bring in January. So they might have a list of 20 players that they are potentially interested in. And I'm not saying Elliot Lee's name isn't on that list. And that list might be with the manager, and the manager might speak to the assistant manager and to the coaching staff and to the scouts and to all these people who know about these players on this list. Now, that's not to say that someone in the office might have also seen the list, or somebody else might have seen the list, and then
Chinese whispers.
Or it might be nothing to do with a list at all. It might be just someone going, right, who can we create a story about that's going to get clicks through on our website.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the biggest profile clubs in League Two are Wrexham. And then they look at that team and they go, right, who can we pick? We know Mullin's story, so we know he's definitely not going anywhere. But Elliot Lee, we don't know that much about him. Let's chuck. You just don't know. We had the whole Tom O'Connor's going to Coventry thing, didn't we? And that didn't happen.
No, I don't think he'll go, though. I don't think, even in the Premier League or the Championship, I don't think there is a club, I mean, I may be biased, but I think this is a true fact, that is it more exciting about where it is at the moment and where it's going. And, you know, all that kind of stuff, the Wrexham AFC, you know, so, and listening to, I know we're going to talk about the documentary a bit later on, but when we were watching the documentary, he was saying that he is excited about the future of the club. So I don't think he'll go. I think Wayne Rooney, you're barking up the wrong tree, mate. Just look elsewhere.
I don't think he'll go either. I think he's very settled. From things I've heard, he's very settled where he lives. He likes being here. He's doing some projects within the community as well. I think he's very settled. I just think he's here to stay. I think he's here to stay for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I don't put much on the rumour. I do disagree slightly. At his age, I think if a Premier League club came for him, I think that's different, because you only get one career and you only get one chance to play in the Premier League. So Elliot Lee's 28-ish?
Yeah-ish.
Yeah.
In his 20s.
Didn't check that, but yeah, I think he's around that. So next season, League One, he'll be 29.
Yeah.
Season after that, Championship, he'll be 30. Season after that, this is only if you go up straight away every time. Yeah. The earliest he can get to the Premier League is when he's 31. If you have a slight stall in one of the leagues, it could be 32, 33. Before you know it, you might not be getting in that team anymore at 32, 33, 34, whatever it might be. So I do genuinely believe that if a Premier League club comes along, that's a different story.
Well, I don't agree.
I do. Sorry, I just wanted. Your microphone looked a bit funny, and I thought I'd just have a little fiddle with it and make sure that it was all right. No, so I think that's slightly different.
Okay.
A chance to play in the Premier League, go and play at, because he was at West Ham before. He played, I think, in Europe for West Ham. I don't think he played a league game for them, but I think that chance to go and, play away games at Man United, at Arsenal, at Chelsea, potentially the draw might be too big. I don't know, and I'm not saying that would be the case. Championship, I think you can easily, if there was a genuine offer that come in, and you were to chat to him, I think that's quite easy to bat away because they're not pushing for promotion. They're not pushing for the playoffs.
Why?
Because they're lower table.
Oh, Birmingham City.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about just a team in general.
No, they're not. So, you go into the Championship, you might have a risk of slipping down and ending up in League One, where you're going to end up in League One anyway, maybe next season if we do well enough. So it's easy to bat away an offer from a Championship team. I think it's very different to bat away
We'll see, won't we?
We will. And I'm not being horrible about anything. I don't think a Premier League club is coming in for Elliot Lee, if I'm perfectly honest.
Good.
So,
Selfishly, I'm glad.
Yes, so am I.
Yeah,
completely.
He's just amazing.
He is. Wrexham women were drawn against Britain Ferry in the round of 16 of the Gennaro Adran.
That weird. The round of 16.
That's what they call it now.
Is it?
Yeah. So
I'm not bothered.
No,
I just thought you were saying it wrong.
No. It annoys me as well, and I don't like conforming. But it's very much like the tennis, Wimbledon always used to be round 1, round 2, round 3, and then quarterfinals and all this sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden they changed it to the round of 128, the round of 64, the round of 32. I hate it, but I am trying to conform and be professional and go along with what the media norm is.
So the round
of 16.
Of 16.
Yes, in the Gennaro Adran Trophy on December the 3rd.
Weirdly, though, December the 3rd, I don't know how this is going to work.
I don't either.
Because obviously we've been drawn against Yeovil Town on December the 3rd. I don't know whether the women's will be early in the day.
No.
And then we'll be at 3:45.
I don't know. But yeah, just as another piece of news that's on the list is Wrexham's game against Yeovil, which was originally planned for the 2nd of December. Will now be played on the 3rd of December, and that's a 3:45 p.m. UK time kickoff. And that's been moved because it's going to be shown live on ITVX in the UK. I haven't seen an announcement of where it's going to be shown anywhere else around the world. I'm guessing ESPN will be showing that as well because they showed the last FA Cup game. So it has been moved, that fixture, but that then clashes with the women's fixture.
We're not sure what time their game is.
No, we're not. So yeah, watch this space.
We'll keep you updated.
We will indeed.
So James McLean has been called up for his last international duty appearance. International duty appearance. Yeah, it's only a friendly though against New Zealand.
It is.
So it's not like it's.
So it's just a goodbye for him, isn't it? From international football.
So yeah, that will be happening shortly. And
it's a way that players can try and gain a little bit of longevity in their career. I think going away and playing international duty. I think it takes a lot of toll, that does, going into other teams and playing with a new group of players and playing at quite a high level. I mean, Ireland played against France recently. Big teams, and you're really pushing your body. And I think it's a way sometimes for players to just, especially of a certain age, to maintain a little bit of a longer career. So it's the right decision at his age, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad he can focus on Wrexham a bit more.
Yeah. Definitely, as long as he's not suspended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jacob Mendy's also been called up. He's been called up to the Gambia squad.
He has.
So I'm glad. Jacob Mendy's just on fire at the minute.
Yeah, he's playing well.
He is.
It is. I think for for him, it's nice to keep getting these international call-ups.
Because he's only young, isn't he? So it's
A
like...
bit of recognition for the work that you're putting in. It's really nice. Unfortunately for him, last time he got called up to the national squad, he didn't actually make it to the final 23, but he's been called up again, so fingers crossed for him, then he makes it.
Yeah, there's no guarantee, is there?
There isn't.
So the next piece of news, lots of controversy around this bit of news.
Yeah, so retail news, let's call it retail news. So the exclusive range was released.
Premier range.
No, it's called the exclusive.
Premium, it's called.
It's called the exclusive range.
Yeah, I saw premiums somewhere.
Anyway, to mixed reviews. So anyone doesn't know what the exclusive range is.
Where have you been under a rock?
Yeah, it is. It's coats, isn't it? Coats and jackets and gilets and stuff like that.
Hoodies and trousers, such like.
They're all right looking. They're quite nice, you know. But that's not really the issue of how they look. The issue is the pricing.
Yep.
That has been the issue.
Yep.
Now, the most expensive item is a Macron coat. It's quite a large sort of manager's style winter coat. That's on for 180 of our British pounds. There are a few. There's quite a few items. There's some jackets on for 150, 140. There's a gilet which is 126 pounds. Just a quick one about the gilet, because Siân's brother, we were having a drink yesterday at the football, and he showed me, if you go directly to the Macron website, there is, the gilet is on there, unbranded, without the Wrexham sort of badge on it. It's the same gilet, just without the Wrexham branding on it. And it's actually £47. Wrexham have obviously stuck a badge on it. Macron have stuck a badge on it, and we're selling it for 126.
Big markup.
It's a hefty markup.
It is big markup.
And it is. The thing that slightly annoyed me about this whole sort of thing was I couldn't think of a word then, so I just went with thing. What annoyed me was a lot of people were doing Wrexham down in the comments.
100%.
You know, they kept saying, you know, we're a working class town. Nobody in this town can afford these items, especially this close to Christmas. I do completely disagree with that comment, because, I mean, there are a lot of people who can afford the items.
Yep.
You know, I do quite a normal job. You know, I work in a factory. I'm a team leader in a factory. You know, it's quite a normal job. I could afford one of them coats. I've got money. I get paid quite well. I could go out and I just do a normal job. There are a lot of people in Wrexham who've got better jobs than I've got and better paid jobs than I've got. You know, but that a lot of them comments that came out seem to indicate that nobody in this town has got any money, which I do disagree with. Although I do understand people's frustrations of how much these items are costing, especially when you can go to the Macron website and you can see these items for a lot less just without a Wrexham badge on.
I bought one.
Siân's bought one. Yeah. It's one of them. Things are sort of worth what people are willing to pay for them. And
I don't think anyone's going to boycott it, put it that way. I think there will be people who have got children who want these items, and yeah, I don't know. I suppose we'll find out with figures. Maybe they're just testing the market.
I don't know. I think it's such an awkward one to discuss. I think they are overpriced. But again, like I said before, things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. If you put all of these out and they sell out, you could argue the club have probably done the right thing, and they have probably made the maximum amount of money that they could make on this venture, and that money's all filtering back into the club, and that's going to, you know, improve facilities, maybe get us better players. Yeah, but I'm very much on the fence with this one.
I'm literally over the fence because I actually bought one. So yeah,
I am on the fence though. I do understand why
I
people.
Totally understand.
I get it.
I think it's a case by case basis. If you feel that you can afford to buy one, then you can afford to buy one. I think Bryn Law actually mentioned, he put on Twitter, I think he shared something, and saying that he could understand that people were annoyed about the pricing, but the way that people are talking, like you said, he said, don't be under any illusion that we're coming to the football in blankets.
Yeah.
People have got branded jackets and things like that.
Yeah.
So people are spending their money on clothes and things like that. But maybe the argument is if you spent like another 100, you could probably get a more well-known branded sort of coat or hoodie or something like that. I think that's what the argument is, possibly.
Yes, I completely get that. We're at the football, we see lots of Stone Island jackets. You know, I've got a Stone Island jacket. You know, you're looking at anything between £500 and £1,000 for a Stone Island jacket. And I see lots of them at the football. I see Canada Goose jackets. I see Montclair jackets.
You don't know whether these are real or fake,
no,
do you?
You can tell the real ones.
I know yours are real because I know how much it cost.
Yeah, but, you know, so it's not like the money isn't there and people aren't willing to pay it. But it's like you very much say, you know, what would I rather spend £300-400 on a well-known designer branded coat or spend £200 on a Macron jacket? And they just don't add up for me. The figures. The other issue is I don't particularly like them very much.
I think the one Rob had on at the game on Saturday was quite nice, but I don't know. Is that one for sale? He's just got HP on his.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not sure.
They have to have specially made ones, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't buy one because I wouldn't spend that amount of money on something that's got a Macron logo on it. Because to me, Macron, although the shirts that we have they're very nice, but Macron.
I think it's different with a football shirt.
Yeah,
isn't
Macron doesn't really scream
luxury
brand item to me.
Oh, do you know what? I think I'm going to have to take it back. When I get it, I'm going to have to.
I'm not putting you off. I'm just saying.
It looked. To be fair, it was a. What did you call it?
It's an illustration.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think I'm very, very persuadable.
Yeah, but that's the other thing for me. We had all the men's range were modelled by Wrexham players.
Yeah.
All of the women's range. I mean, we got a women's team. They could get them to, but they weren't even pictures of the actual items. They were illustrations of the women's garments, coats, whatever. So that was a bit odd for me. Anyway,
let's move on because this one we could talk about for a long time.
We could do. The Port Vale game. So I wasn't able to go. I was working. I had work commitments, so I wasn't able to go. Siân decided to go without me, which is fine. It didn't bother me. Whatever. No, it didn't bother me.
It was very weird.
It didn't bother me. But you went to the game.
I did.
With my dad and our son.
Did you forget we had a son? Then you went, our son Alfie.
No, I was trying to remember who went.
Yeah, just me, your dad, and Alfie went.
There was much change lineups for both. Both had already qualified for the knockout stages. Port Vale had a really young lad in midfield who I've seen some of the highlights looked pretty decent.
We had young lads though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So it starts for Max, Bryce, Billy Waters, Bickerstaff, McNicholas, Dan Davis, Jordan Davis, Luke Young, Liam McAlinden. I mean, it was basically a brand new 11.
McNicholas.
Yeah.
He's a good little goalkeeper. He is.
Well, I haven't written any notes about this game because I wasn't there. So how did they play?
To be fair, for the first, I'd say for the first half, they didn't play great.
No.
There was a lot of mistakes made by our team. But then, obviously, later on, second half, what's his face? Steve McLean.
James McLean.
James McLean and Paul Mullen came on.
How much of a difference did they make? I know. Look, hang on. Before you answer that, I know they scored a goal each. But apart from the goals, how much of a difference did they make when they came on?
I think it just brought a lot of experience. Don't get me wrong, the other guys played really well. You know, the likes of Bickerstaff and Dan Davis was quite. He was quite hefty on the ball. Hefty.
Good on the ball.
Yeah, hefty. Yeah. But weirdly, when McLean came on, he wasn't in his usual. I know he's played up front in other teams.
Yeah, he played up front. Yeah,
he played up front, and do you know what? Me and your dad were like, God. He's really good up front.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I think he scored his goal from the corner from Young.
Yes.
From the right side of where I was sitting.
Yeah.
because we usually sit in the Macron stand. That's where our season tickets are. But I thought, do you know what? I really want to be behind the goal.
Yeah.
I regretted my decision.
See, what I like, everyone's got where they like to sit.
Yeah.
I like sitting where we sit. We're in the Macron stand, we're on the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
I think our seats are really good. Although when we go to away games, I like sitting behind the goal.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
But I mean right behind the goal when I say that. Like, you could reach out and touch the nets. That's, right behind the goal. That's where I like to be.
I think that's the feeling I was going for. But...
Yeah, but at home games, I don't really get that urge to go, I would love to be behind the goal. It's like an away day thing for me.
Yeah, now it is. But I've experienced it, and me and your dad were like, never again. It's not the easy... Honestly, it's weird in there.
Is it?
It's not like it's... Have you not... Well, obviously you have
I
for
have
years
been
ago.
there
But
for years. Not for years,
They've
no.
redone it. You walk in and there's just like... It's just really bizarre. And there's only... To get to the top, there's like one walkway.
Yeah.
And then to get to all the bottom seats...
You walk along the front, don't you?
Yeah. So we went in and we were like, where are these seats? And he was like, oh, you have to go out of here. No, you don't.
No.
So literally, we were there for about 10 minutes trying to look where we were going.
Yeah.
Missed the start of the match. Went in, and it was literally the first place we went is the way we go in, and it was just like, oh my god.
The last time I was in that stand was Kings of Leon, because they had bars in there, didn't they? So when we went to the Kings of Leon gig, we were stood on the pitch, but I kept going to the bar in the stand because nobody really went to the bar in the stand, and I could get beers really quickly.
So
that was my downfall, if I'm honest, how quick I could get the beers.
Yeah, we know. Overall, it was a good game. It was brilliant when another reason why I wanted to sit in the Stoke coffee brew stand. I can never say that, at the tech end.
Yeah.
Because when they score a goal, they always seem to kind of migrate to one side of the pitch.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No.
They went to the other side. I was just like, oh, for Christ's sake. So that was a bit of a disappointment. But great goals by Mullen and McLean.
Yeah.
Really, really good. It was a good game.
Yeah.
Probably could have. I know this is quite controversial, but probably would have preferred to have watched it at home if we couldn't have sat in our own seats.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that. I mean, I missed the game. I wasn't that bothered that I missed it.
No, you were, and it was a last-minute decision for me, to be honest.
Yeah,
I thought,
I know.
there was seats still available. We could have probably sat in the Macron stand, but up in the gods.
Yeah.
Well, not really the gods, because it's not that far.
No,
but,
it's not that big.
Yeah. But we made, I made the decision for all of us, and I regret it. But, good game. Good game.
The draw for the knockout stages of the EFL Trophy are going to be made. All of the games haven't been played as yet.
No.
So once all them games have been played, there'll be an announcement of when the draw is going to be. We'll let you know on social media when that's going to be. But yeah, we're in the next round. We were in the next round anyway. So.
I love how this is a collective we.
What?
It's me.
What?
Who puts
Oh, yeah,
social
Siân will
media.
put it on social media. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and be under no illusions, I very rarely do anything on social media. Even though everyone messages assuming they're talking to me, which is quite funny. Yeah.
Hi, Ryan. No, it's Siân.
Gillingham game. So let's have a quick chat about that. So,
so good.
Yeah, so there's no Mullin, no McLean. Dalby and Ford came in. And we had a Remembrance Day fly past, didn't we? Which was a bit odd because
weird.
It wasn't odd. It was a very nice thing to have happened.
Yeah.
So so it's we were stood in the stand. We'd heard there was going to be a fly past during the game from the RAF, and we were stood in the stand. We could hear the planes coming over, and then everyone in our stand looked up like that.
All you could see was roof.
And then it was like, oh, we didn't see that. So we couldn't see any planes. But then we've seen posts from people in the Wrexham Lager stand who said, oh, has anyone got any pictures of the flyover? Because we couldn't see it from the Wrexham Lager stand, which is odd because that's the opposite end to where we are. So I think somebody either our stand missed it or the Wrexham Lager stand missed it. I'm not sure, but
we saw
they were definitely there.
You've got gaps in the roof, like clear plastic or whatever it is, and you could see it flying over.
Could you? I
just
didn't.
like literally like 2 seconds of going over. But yeah, when you see pictures from the tech end, it looks like it's flying over the middle of the ground.
Not sure.
No, it didn't.
No.
So it was a remembrance.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
I would say that the Gillingham game was our best 90 minutes of the season.
Yeah.
Might be controversial for some. A lot of people will say, oh no, the Notts County game. As a complete 90 minutes, I would say that was our best 90 minutes of the season.
We dominated.
We did. It was,
did.
it was quick. It was pass. It was move. The passing was slick. And it just everything looked better than it had.
Sweet.
It looked better than, for me, every other game that we played. We seemed in control. And, for long periods of that game, actually for pretty much all of the game, I was confident. Don't get me wrong, scoring a girl? Scoring a goal after like 55 seconds.
It was amazing.
That helps.
Yes.
Of course that helps.
Yes.
It does.
I didn't see the goal because somebody who was sitting in front of me, is taller than me, stood up before I could, and I missed the goal. So,
yeah. So we went 1-0 up after literally in the first minute.
Yep.
I'd say Johnny Williams was their biggest threat. Everything came over to him on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it did.
Everything came over. He's a very good player, Johnny Williams. He's obviously Welsh.
He's actually the first time I've ever seen our fans giving a standing applause to a team member on the opposite team.
A team member on the opposite team,
a player on the opposite team.
Yeah. So when Johnny went off, he did get a nice round of applause. Got a nice round of applause from everyone because he's Welsh. We all love Johnny Williams. Not on Saturday, we didn't, but we do love. Johnny Williams.
We were very much in the opinion he is a very, very good player. And he did give our lads a run for their money, but obviously not enough.
No,
he did have a few shots.
He sort of drifted into the middle after. He was very much on the left. He drifted into the middle a little bit. But we did our homework on him, I think. I think we know what he's about. There's plenty of videos that you can get of games that he's played in. He's played in the Premier League before. He's very much a player that you can do your homework on. You know what I mean? And we certainly did that. Yeah, he was very good, but they didn't really create anything. They had a chance though to make it 1-1, didn't they? That one that they sort of pulled past the post.
That was from a corner, wasn't it?
Can't remember, it sort of pinballed around a little bit and it ended up one of their guys on the sort of left hand side of the goal, and he just pulled it right across on target in the corner. That was in. I don't think Arthur was getting down to that one. Could have changed the shape of the game. They didn't deserve a goal, but if they'd have got it, it might have changed something. But I was sort of quietly confident that we had that game sewn up quite early on, to be fair. What are you looking at me like that for?
Talking of the final score.
Oh, we're jumping right to the end of the game, are we? We're not going to talk about anything else?
Okay, let's... right, okay, yeah. So, Evans had a go from the halfway.
Yeah, so it was 1-0 at half-time.
Sorry.
I just
got excited for you.
I know you got excited, but let's just... chill out. So yeah, Evans had a goal from halfway in the second half.
He didn't have a goal.
Had a goal.
I thought you said he had a goal
from the halfway line. It was never going in, but it was it was quite nice. Yeah, it was. Palmer had a bit of a looping header, didn't he? The keeper saved.
Yeah.
It was just more of the same in the second half. It was very quick. It was very direct. It was very slick.
Yeah.
I felt it was one of the first times, I think, this season where I'd been to a home game where it felt like we had a bit of oomph about us, where we was just sort of like, right, okay, let's get the ball into feet, let's get it forward, and let's get up the pitch as quickly as possible.
They did.
The amount of games that we've watched where the ball breaks for us and we go to, and we just seem so lethargic that we can't just get the ball forward. Do you know what I mean? And there's no streaming football. But on Saturday, everything I thought was fantastic for me.
It was on Saturday how a League Two team should be together, I think. All right, granted, we didn't have the likes of Stephen Fletcher, James Mullen. What is wrong with me? James McLean, oh my God, or Paul Mullen. But I think the guys that we did have on that pitch,
I thought the balance was perfect. I thought
was.
everything was right. Tozer got his goal.
He did. I'm glad he got his goal.
Yeah, it was a finish of a striker. That was stuck a leg out.
It was a good goal.
One thing I wanted to ask, and we've sort of because you threw me off because you jumped right to the end of the game, and I had to sort of go back.
Sorry.
First half, there was a shout for a Gillingham penalty, wasn't there? So they had a shot, hit Aaron Hayden on the arm.
Yeah.
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 I hate to say it, but yeah, it did hit him on the arm.
We did have, as soon as it happened, I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
ooh,
everyone was going,
ooh, is he going to give it? No, he didn't. And then I think it was your brother actually said to me, he said, oh, his arm was by his side.
It was like that?
His arm was by his side, and, when it hit it, and, natural position, ball's quite close to him, I think we're good. I think that's why it wasn't given. Now, I've looked at the replay. His arm's right out.
Yeah.
When it hits him, his arm is not in a natural position. I agreed at the time because that's how it sort of felt. You don't get replays, do you, at live games?
Unfortunately.
So, it felt like, it probably was by his side. I think the thing that saved him was how close he was to the ball. He went to charge it down, and I think because he was so close, I think the ref sort of gone, there's nothing he can do to sort of get out of the way of that. Yeah. Although, really, if your arm's in an unnatural position, which it was right out, I think that's the thing that sort of usually scuppers you. But
yeah.
Man of the match?
Well, it was George Evans.
No, I was asking if you agree.
Do you know what? I do.
Yes.
I did think because Ford's been kind of out of action for a bit, I thought him, because it's his first game for a while, isn't it?
No, he played
league game. I mean,
league game. Yeah, he played in the FA Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But I think for his first league game back after a bit of an absence and what have you, I think for me he did really, really well. And if I could give it to somebody else.
Yeah, it'd be him.
For me, I do agree George Evans deserved it, but for me, I think...
I was quite happy because...
You and my brother both said George Evans.
We said George Evans. I think he was superb. He controlled the play and dictated tempo for long periods, and I thought he was superb. But then you sort of go... George Evans isn't really a glamorous man of the match, is it? Is it someone's going to want his shirt who's picking man of the match? You know how it works. And nudge,
wink, nudge.
And so, but when they announced it, I was really happy because he was man of the match. And sometimes that doesn't happen. You get a man of the match, and then the sponsors of man of the match want Mullin shirts, so they give it to them. Yes.
And sometimes they don't. They're great players, but sometimes they don't deserve it. There's somebody that's more deserving, whether they've scored a goal or not.
Very true. And so I was happy that he got that on
it's his
Saturday.
First man of the match, I think.
I think it is. Yes.
Probably the last.
Go on. You were going to say anyway. Predictions.
So as you all know, before every game, every home away game, we always do our score predictions on social media, and we also do it on here as well. But Ryan predicted at the Gillingham. What? Seriously, what is wrong with me?
You're stupid. That's what's wrong with you.
Wow. At the Gillingham game on Saturday, Ryan predicted a 2-0 score to Wrexham.
So that's my first one. It's my first one. I'm up and running. Siân's got 3 this season, score predictions. I was starting to think I wasn't going to get any. But I got Saturday's 2-0. I was very happy with that.
I got Port Vale on Tuesday.
All right. This is my moment in the sun.
So that's the third one, isn't it?
You didn't get 2-1.
Yes, I did.
Did you?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Shut up.
I've definitely got 3.
Yeah, Siân's got 3 anyway. I've got 1, so I'm on the board now.
You're on the board.
We're unbeaten in 11. We've won 5 in a row in all competitions. We're on our way. We're anyway,
second.
We are second in the league. All's going well. We just need Stockport to slip up a little bit now. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got a guest on.
We have.
This is a gentleman called Jake.
AKA the Wrexham Texan.
Yes, and we're going to have a little chat with him. So how are you doing, Jake?
Doing great, y'all. How are y'all doing today?
Yeah, all right.
All right.
I think
after Saturday's game, it was good.
Yeah, I think when we win, I very much, I feel like it doesn't ruin my weekend. Let's put it like that, because I think when we don't perform, or when we, like the Stockport game, for example, yeah, that was one of my worst weekends in the last 6 months.
That was miserable. And yeah, like I understand letting it ruin your weekend. I definitely used to do that a lot more than I do these days. My wife wouldn't let me let it ruin the weekend anymore.
So to talk about you and Wrexham, I think most people will be able to tell from your accent you're not a Wrexham local. So how did you get involved with sort of following Wrexham?
Well, I mean, as many people did, when Rob bought the club, I got really interested and started following along online. There wasn't really a good stream, or I didn't find the streams right away, so I couldn't watch the games or couldn't figure out how to watch the games. And once the documentary came out, that's when I really connected. So I've been looking for a football team to follow since I was like 10 years old. And the MLS is just not that great. And I don't like following MLS teams. And so I was looking for a European squad, and I would always bounce around with different US players. So I'd follow, like, Tim Howard playing at Everton, Christian Pulisic playing at Chelsea, that kind of thing. But as soon as they left, I wouldn't care about the team anymore because I only care about the player. And so once the documentary came out, I really started connecting with the tragedy of being in the National League for 15 years. That hit home with me with my American football team, Texas A&M. We're just perennially terrible. We're just the meatiest of ochres, just like right down the middle every time. And so I don't know. I'm a filmmaker, so I like story, and I get really connected via a good story. And once I saw the documentary, that was pretty much it. Like that was my team from then on. So it's been great ever since too.
You sort of fell in love with it so much that so much so that you've started a podcast as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to start a podcast, but I thought I was going to get connected with like local Wrexham fans. But I move and I travel so much that that's really difficult to do. And so I didn't have enough people to talk about Wrexham with, so I thought just talk to a camera for like an hour a week, and and that might get it out of your system. And now it's turned into me getting to interview people from from Australia, from Phoenix, from UK, from everywhere, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, Wrexham Texan, I love it.
So where can they find you, Jake? Where can they look for you?
Anywhere you get your podcasts. So I'm on all podcast platforms. I'm on YouTube for video. I think I'm on Rumble as well. Yeah, Rumble as well. And then I release it on Twitter and Facebook too. So just basically everywhere.
It's very much like us. People go, "Oh, where is it?" And
Anywhere.
and I go, and I
Anywhere.
start listing things, and then I go, I think we're on here as well, but I don't know, because the sort of podcast hosts that we use, they literally just push it out everywhere.
Yeah.
So our podcast is on places. We were looking at our analytics, and then there was like, our podcast is, we're listened on what? I didn't even know we were on there. So it's like, you're in all sorts of places. You sort of touched on the documentary a little bit. We've had 2 episodes last week. One which very much sort of focused on Ollie Palmer and his dad, and Rob and his mum as well. And then the second episode of the week was very much surrounding the Yeovil game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which you couldn't really remember very much, could you? I think you would go to games and then you just gone. Compartmentalized, I think they call it. Go put that in a box and we'll forget about that one. Whereas I remember the goal scorers, the score. I remember what the score was at half time, or everything.
Yeah.
What have you made of this season of the documentary, Jake?
It's a little different than the first season, which for me, people aren't going to like this, but for me, it's a little bit of a disappointment. So here's the thing. I've explained this on my podcast, which is I like each individual episode as its own thing. Okay, so each one has been fantastic, well made, great stories throughout. But since it was the season that Wrexham got promoted, what I wanted was, in the first season, it was 15 out of 18 episodes were about the first team and about us trying to get promoted. What I wanted was, and they built it up that whole first season, like it's do or die, this coming season. And what I wanted was most of the episodes to be about us struggling to get promoted and the epic race between us and Notts County. And we're not getting so much of that. It's probably fewer than half the episodes are about the first team, which isn't my favorite thing. But that being said, like all the episodes have been fantastic. So like it's hard to complain too much. I just wish there was a little bit more getting to know a lot. We've signed so many new players. Like I want to get to know a bunch of the new players that we signed last season. And yeah, so overall, I have not seen the last two episodes this past week. So, but overall, I've enjoyed it. You can spoil it. Most of us know what happens in those.
Yeah, definitely. As going into this season, now we got promoted last season as champions. Coming into this new season, what were you expecting from the team, and where we are now, is that sort of better than you expected, or were you expecting that one extra step for us to be top of the league by now?
I think we're outperforming where I thought we'd be. It's hard to go into a completely new league. Like it's shocking to me. Not shocking, but it's a happy surprise that we're number 2 at the moment. In my view, I think getting used to playing a bunch of new teams, a lot of whom you haven't played for a very long time. I think that's a big change. I think the roster moves we've made have helped us immensely. I mean, Stephen Fletcher, freaking beast, coming in at the end of games and crushing it for us. So, yeah, I think I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Number 2 over Notts County. We destroyed Notts County in that game. That was absolutely fantastic. I mean, how can you complain?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're quite different, aren't we? Because I'm sort of with Jake. I think we've outperformed where I expected to be. I'm not going to use the Stockport analogy again because I've way overused that analogy. But I did expect a good sort of 10, maybe 15 games for us to get going.
So you are using the analogy
in
because a roundabout kind of way.
No, let's not. But I was expecting it was going to take us time to find our feet and get moving.
We haven't been in the league since 15 years.
But it took us 3-4 games to find our feet.
Yeah, I reckon that was down to the pre-season though.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think we've started chugging along. I think we needed the Stockport game. I think we needed to be just battered down by somebody to go, hang on a minute. Bang.
You're not as good as you think you are.
It's not going to be as easy as you think it's going to be, because we started to find a bit of flow. Since the Stockport game, we've not lost. We're 11 unbeaten since that game. We've won our last 5 in a row. I definitely think this is more than I expected.
Yeah.
If we were 5th or 6th now, I'm happy. Because I think that is about where. But we've just ramped it up, and Saturday for me was, like I said, the best 90 minutes we've played, I think, this season. So
absolutely, agreed.
But you were sort of maybe expected just a little bit more, weren't you?
Yeah.
But that's your new to football, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've won all this season, so
why can't we win next season?
We're going to win all next season.
But I have been, like, Stockport did with us.
Yeah.
I've been batted down.
Yes. Yeah.
and I'm now more realistic to say, we are second. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've still got a way to go, but I think at this point, I think second is pretty good.
I think it's good.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I hope we can either get to the top of the table or just Keep going between 2 and 3.
Top 3 go up.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Where do you think the season's going, Jake? Are you? We're second now. You know, things can change. They can change in the space of 3 or 4 games. You know, Notts County know that they were second a few weeks ago, and
Now
all of
they're
a sudden, they're 5th. You know, it can change. There's a lot of teams.
There's not much between us, though, is there? Between like Mansfield and Notts County, it's pretty close.
It is pretty close. How do you think the rest of the season's going to go? Can you see us maintaining that top 3?
I mean, if we stay healthy, I think we can do it. It all depends on injuries. I think that's what it comes down to a lot of the times, because that's one of the big problems with Notts County right now is they've got injured players down, and I think it's going to come down to injuries and what we do in the transfer window. I think I was talking to one of my buddies, Steve, who's over here in the US, and he thinks we need to bolster our roster a little bit in January. So I don't know. I think we have 2 squads on the team that could play in League 2. I think we have 2 complete League 2 lineups, completely different teams. I think they could easily succeed in League 2. So I see us getting promoted at this point. I don't really see how that's not going to happen. It would have to take a really big disaster for us to not get promoted at this point, or at least make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want playoffs. We don't do well in playoffs.
We don't do well in playoffs, but no.
I know the history. Yeah. I've watched some highlights.
What do you? So we were talking about the January transfer window, and which is going to come round on us very quickly. If we were to go out, and I think we will go out and buy, 1, maybe 2, just to firm up that sort of squad. Any areas in the team that you think, oh yeah, we could do with a defender, we could do with a midfielder or wide players, or what do you think?
For a while, I was thinking defender because I hate to say it, but I didn't think Ben Tozer was going to make it. And then since he's come back, he's been great. But maybe a new defender just to make sure we're solid back there. Because I don't know, things can happen. And Aaron Hayden is prone to injury. He was phenomenal yesterday. Seeing him play again was great. So I would say defense should be our primary place where we focus, because I'm happy with our strikers. I'm happy with the forwards. I'm happy with the midfields. I don't see too many issues there. What are y'all's thoughts on it?
It's so awkward because I think when fit, we've got a lot of defenders. We do. We've got Tunnicliffe, we've got Tozer, we've got Hayden, we've got Boyle. We've got Tom O'Connor, who for whatever reason continues to play in defence.
He did play well yesterday, though, to be fair.
And then we got people like Max as well, who's sort of waiting in the wings, and we do have a lot of defenders. The issue is they never all seem to be fit, and so I am sort of on that page with you that maybe we could do with something else in there that's going to just to solidify everything. Although sod's law and the way that it goes is we go out and we spend decent money on another defender, and then all of a sudden every single one of our defenders is fit, and you have a bigger headache than you had before. And there's an argument to say you can't really include all of them defenders in a 23-man squad. So I don't know, but I'm not naive enough to think that you look at all of our players and go, I love them. I love all of them. They're all amazing. But I'm not naive enough to think that there isn't better players out there than every single one of the players that we've got. And as good as they all are, there is probably someone better. Not in this league, I don't think, but maybe in the Championship, there's certainly better players than every single player we've got. As much as we maybe don't want to admit that, that's just the way.
I don't want to admit
it is the way, because if there wasn't better players than our players out there, then our players would be playing in the Premier League, wouldn't they? And they're not. They're playing in League 2. So there is always better players out there. So I think sometimes you've just got to go, you just don't know. And I don't think when you've got money in the bank, I just don't think anyone's safe, because if you bring somebody in that's better, then all of a sudden a player who's playing week in, week out is all of a sudden sitting on the bench.
Yeah. I think I'm less interested in like players who are better in Championship or League One. Like, is there anybody better? Are there whole teams that are better than us in League Two right now? I don't think so. Stockport is the only one that could give us a run for our money. So I especially like our young guys. Like, I miss watching Bickerstaff play, and I love Max Cleworth. I think that guy is going to be amazing. And I wish he could get more playing time, because we need to develop some of our younger guys.
Definitely. Right, Jake, thank you very much. We'll come back to you in just 2 seconds. We're just gonna run through. We play in Accrington on Saturday, so it's a League Two game. It's on Saturday, the 18th of November at 3 p.m. UK time. It's available for international fans only on iFollow, as it's a 3 p.m. game. We're away at the Wham Stadium.
Is that after the Wham bar?
No, it's not.
Or
It's
Wham as in George Michael?
No, neither of them. It's Wham as in they make plastic containers, boxes. That's what they make.
Okay.
So anyway, it's about 75 miles away, so it's about an hour and a half
We could
from
get
us.
tickets.
We couldn't
tried.
get tickets, unfortunately. We'd love to have gone, but we're not. The last competitive game was against Accrington was in April 2008 in League Two, which we lost 3-1 at home. The last away game, competitive game against Accrington, was in October 2007, which we won 2-0. Bodes quite well. They lost 3-1 to Crawley away on Saturday. They've won 8, drawn 2, and lost 7 so far this season. They are 8th in the league, 7 points behind us. Their top scorer is Josh Andrews, on loan from Birmingham at the moment. Prediction?
I'm going to go, because it's away, I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. I'm going to go for 2-0. 2-0 Wrexham. Jake, do you want to throw a prediction out there for the Wrexham Accrington game?
I was going to say 2-0.
2-0. You going with me? Good man. I like it.
Another clean sheet. I mean,
Yes.
Okonkwo's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch, the usual way, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or email us at me, the wife, and wrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat before we do the quiz. It's a mental health peer support group. They run a weekly Zoom call between 7 p.m. and 8:30 every week. The best thing to do is to follow Dragon Chat-Steve Lloyd on Twitter, or X, whatever you're calling it these days. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm not changing. That's the best thing to do. Follow him. If you're struggling to find it, all the details of the call, if you're watching on YouTube, is down in the description of this video. It's actually down in the description of every video we do. So how to get on that Zoom call. If you're struggling to find information, just message us. Twitter, Facebook, all the places I've just named, all of them.
All the places.
All the places. Get in touch with us. We'll point you in the right direction, and we'll put you in touch with Steve, and then you can get involved in that call. Right. It is quiz time.
Are you ready, Jake?
No.
Me neither. I never am.
So it is 1 truth, 2 lies.
Yep.
I will read out 3 statements.
Yep.
1 of them is true. 2 of them are lies. All you guys have to do is tell me which one is true. Okay?
Yep.
Good to go.
Yep. I go first, yeah?
Yeah.
I go
Siân
first.
will answer first, so she doesn't copy Jake's answers, basically.
Wow, the trust.
I know. On Saturday, Wrexham AFC posted a list of times the game would be on around the world. I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter, Jake. They post a load of places around the world and what time the games are on, and they always use players' names in the place names. So, one of these is true, the other 2 are lies.
Okay.
O'Connor, Western Australia. Number 2, Palmer, Jamaica. Or number 3, Hayden, South Africa.
I'm going to go 2, Palmer.
Palmer, Jamaica.
Yeah.
Okay. Jake?
Dadgummit, that was going to be my guess.
You can guess that too.
Yeah, no, I'm going to guess that too.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're both wrong then. Yeah, no,
Is it A?
it's O'Connor, Western Australia.
Ah.
There is one in Jamaica, but I quite like these ones. But I can't do it again because you're going to cotton on to this and you're going to look at them next week. The Jamaica one's Bickerstaff. There's a place called Bickerstaff in Jamaica. So there we go.
Wow, that's cool.
0-0. Anyway. The Wrexham Christmas cards are now available to buy online and in the club shop.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the cards is a caricature of Ryan and Rob with their arms around each other in Santa hats. Number 2, one of the cards shows a snowman built on a snowy racecourse pitch. Or number 3, one of the cards depicts Rex the dragon in the back of a sleigh.
I'm going to go 3 because Rex is definitely on one of them.
Okay, Jake?
I'm going to go 2.
Number 2. Siân, you're correct. It is Rex in the back of a sleigh, so 1-0 to
The only reason why I know that is because I think I voted for that card.
Did you?
I did.
I
Yeah.
think I did as
I
well.
think-
Number 3. James McLean came off the bench to score 1 and assist 1 for another sub, Paul Mullin, on Tuesday against Port Vale. Okay? That's not one of the things. That's just my introduction.
Oh, right, okay.
1. The last time that a sub scored and assisted for Wrexham was in 2003. Number 2. It was James McLean's first goal for 2 years. Or number 3. It was the first time in the club's history 2 subs have scored in the same game 3 times in one season.
I'm going to go with 2 because I know that it was James McLean's first goal for us.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility it could be his first goal in 2 years.
Okay, Jake?
What was number 1 again?
Number 1 was the last time that a sub scored and assisted was in 2003.
I'm going to go with that one. Number 1.
Go with that one? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're both wrong. It's the first time in the club's history that 2 subs have scored in the same game 3 times in a season.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's not James McLean's first goal for 2 years, just a year.
It's still.
No, it's not even a year. It's March. He scored in March.
But it's still for us. So
Yeah.
I'm getting half.
Yeah, but he hasn't played for us for 2 years. So, number 4. Tickets for our game at Forest Green Rovers went on sale last week.
Mm-hmm.
We were allocated 450 tickets, 750 tickets, or 1,050 tickets.
450.
450, Jake?
Man, it'd be nice to know how big their stadium is. I'm going to go 750.
750. Siân, you're correct. It is 450. They've got some work. They've got some construction work, so we've got a restricted amount of tickets. So it's 450.
I only know that because I.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that because I do the social media.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Yes.
So
Do that.
last question. I'm going to do double points for this because Jake's 2 behind. So it's the only way that I can. You can get back into it, Jake. So I'm going to do double points.
Would you have done double points if I was losing?
No, definitely not. No. Billy Waters was in charge of the matchday playlist against Port Vale. Included in the playlist was "Beautiful Day" by U2, "Back in Black" by AC/DC, or "Everywhere" by Fleetwood Mac.
Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac.
It's just because you love that song, that's right. Jake?
I think it's Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac too.
Okay, yeah, you're both wrong again. Yeah, it is it was "Beautiful Day" by U2. Oh.
So who won?
You won. All right, you won. Yes. Jake, thank you so much for joining us this week. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Sharon.
So it's another one come to an end.
It has.
Yeah, so we will see you again next week for episode 72.
Bye.